I was granted access to the 7-meter control building by the owner. I had permission to be here, and it's important to know that this is a secure location. Gates are locked. Every building has been boarded up. So this is not at the moment a public area due to recent vandalism. But I think it's important for you all to know that I did not do any breaking and entering. I had permission, and I was accompanied by the owner of this property. We're here on top of Crawford Hill, the former Bell Laboratories property in Homedale, New Jersey, and behind me you can see the 7-meter dish. It's a radio telescope, really, that doctors Penzias and Wilson used in the 80s and 90s to do measurements of signals in the gigahertz range, and they also used it to track a beacon from the ComStar satellite. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to get into that building, which has been boarded up for security purposes, and we're going to do an inventory of all the equipment that's in there. From what I have seen, there are racks of equipment. There's a control panel for that dish, and we want to take an inventory, see what's in there, see what the condition is. About to enter into the 7-meter antenna control building here on Crawford Hill. There is no power here. Everything will be by flashlight. This building is locked. It is frozen in time. As you can see, there's a lot of black mold. So this is the first room, and there are storage cabinets in here. And this is really interesting. Test components, spare, antenna parts, brakes, all kinds of things. And this room is really interesting. That's a mattress, okay, underneath that countertop. And that countertop lifts up, and you can see there's a latch, just a regular latch there. And there is one over here too. So that can lift up, and someone can spend the night here. So that's really interesting. And in this room you can see a lot of black mold. We're not going to spend a lot of time here because this stuff is very dangerous. Telephone, power outlets. And this is interesting. So this is the door that comes into the building. This is the door to the bathroom. Please keep door closed at all times. Collision hazard. So if this door was open and someone came busting through that front door, yeah, they'd collide. There has been a lot of vandalism here. You can see mirrors broken, a lot of glass. Okay, this window's been broken. Everything's been boarded up. Everything on the entire site here at Crawford Hill has been boarded up. I should be wearing a mask. Okay, so these are racks of equipment. Do not turn on telescope without turning on external 5-volt power supply first, which would be this. Azimuth, elevation. Yeah, this is a dish controller. Antenna control, you can see. I'm going to move in here. Lots of stuff, notes taken. And so you've got these 3 racks here. Okay, 3 racks on the right as you walk in. Time display. I think they had a driven clock in here. Azimuth, elevation, dish controller, position indicator. Tektronix rack mount, whatever was in there is gone. Filter. This is a FTS 1050A quartz frequency standard, HP distribution amplifier, frequency standard, frequency standard. So these were all part of their measurements. That's probably a power supply down there. ATC, UPS, fiber optic transmission system. UTC clock, chart recorder, okay, chart recorder, CRT monitor, and not sure what these things are because the front is turned away from me. Here you can see the cable tray and monitors. And then, so I think what happened was they could look out on the dish through these windows, observe results on these monitors. They actually had a pair of speakers up there too. And then that is a time display. Okay. And then another monitor here. This rack, not really sure what this stuff is. Computer looks like there's a 3.5-inch floppy drive in there. Tektronix scope. Printer. Okay, then, so as you come in, now you've got these racks, including the menu for the Chinese restaurant. So, hang on, I'm going to open this up. Okay. First down converter. Local oscillator source for second demodulator. Second down converter. We move down to some, looks like power supplies. A nice, looks like an HP 7903 scope. And power supplies. Okay. In this cabinet, industrial computer source. Not sure what that is, but there is a keyboard input. And then differential preamplifier, PAR model 124A. Lock-in amplifier 2 Hz to 210 kilohertz. And then that looks like a power supply down at the bottom. Okay. All right. Digimax frequency counter. See the cable trays up there. Here we've got like an I/O panel, alarms, dBm meter, nice analog meter there. I'm not sure what this is. Push, okay, time constant. Okay. Rack mount for a scope, which isn't around anymore. This looks like an I/O panel, so you could plug in different things into the scope. That's my guess. Filtering, calibration control. This looks like, reminds me of the Altair 8800 computer. Lots of switches and lights, command bits, address counter, receiver control, and power supply, I think. Okay, moving up to the next rack. Analog optical receiver, HP 5354A automatic frequency counter, IF chassis, intermediate frequency. There was obviously a meter there at some point. Not sure what this is doing. This looks like home shop made at the machine shop at Bell Labs, not commercial. Filters, switches, really nice meters. These look like power supplies. Okay, up here, HP 5342A microwave frequency counter, and that lovely phone. Which actually is like that's an intercom. See that 1/4-inch plug? Okay. Looks like more homemade. Not really sure what that is. But it's got a speakers on it. Chopper control box. Okay. Okay. Not sure of the brand, but it's a 6160B frequency synthesizer. looks like Hewlett-Packard. No, it's a Fluke. Sorry, Fluke frequency synthesizer. Okay. Okay, another frequency synthesizer. This looks like one of those computers. Industrial computer source, power supply. An old PC with a 3.5-inch and an optical disc drive. I'm not sure what that is. Can't see the front of it. All right, we got to get out of here. I can feel it in my lungs. All right, now here is something very cool. This is a control panel for the dish itself. Those look like, I think they're capacitors, but I'm not sure. Probably. Could be coils. Anyway, sub-reflector positioner. Okay, you can change the speed as you move the dish, motor brakes, and such. Cable tray. Okay, now you kind of get a wide shot here. It's a little hard. This flashlight is not very broad, but so as we walk out, I can see everything. So they could listen. They were doing experiments having to do with a beacon on the ComStar satellite. So it's possible that those speakers were there so they could actually demodulate and hear audio. Just trying to give you wide views of the racks. Okay, I think that's about it. So that's our little tour of building 7. I'm not sure of the building number, but it's the 7-meter control building here at Crawford Hill, also home to the Homedale Horn antenna, which is several hundred yards, 100 yards that way. But yeah, so it's a real mess in there. There's a lot of black mold. You have to be careful, can't spend much time. If you were to come in here again, I'd wear a mask, which I should have done. But at least now you have an idea of what's in here, an equipment inventory. So from Crawford Hill, from the 7-meter dish, Joe Hughes.